Hey everybody, Chris here with the RV Connection. It's new truck season, which means I've been busy with a lot of magazine projects, and that's prevented me from posting a new video in a while. The good news is, I learned a lot about the maximum tow ratings offered by each of the big manufacturers for 2020, and let me just start by saying, they're not always what they seem. If you plan to tow a fifth wheel, you should know that the maximum tow rating for any heavy-duty pickup really doesn't matter for three reasons. 1. The highest rating from each manufacturer is for a regular cab dually with a diesel engine, and if you've never driven one of these without a trailer, I can tell you it's not fun. The short wheelbase and heavy-duty suspension make for a rough ride when you're not towing, and the max-rated trucks usually have the lowest available final drive ratio, which means the worst possible fuel economy. The second reason is that very few fifth wheels, even large custom models, weigh more than 20,000 pounds, so any crew cab dually offered today will have you covered easily. You might even be able to get by with a gas-powered model and save yourself an extra $10,000 or so. Finally, the highest published tow rating from any of the manufacturers is for a gooseneck hitch, which is commonly used in commercial or agricultural applications. Fifth wheel hitch ratings are generally lower, usually by more than 1,000 pounds. The reasons have to do with the fifth wheel hitch itself. Most are not rated beyond 30,000 pounds, and the highest rated hitches typically weigh several hundred pounds, which is subtracted from the tow rating. Ram is the only manufacturer that stands behind its highest published tow rating, gooseneck or fifth wheel. That is, if you can find a suitable hitch. So let's talk about the heaviest of the heavy duties, in order of who introduced what first. Ram unveiled its all-new 2500 and 3500 trucks in the 2019 model year, and were the first to offer 1,000 pound-feet of torque and a max tow rating of 35,100 pounds. Those are impressive numbers, but you'll only get them if you go for the Cummins high-output engine and the Aisin 6-speed automatic transmission combo, which is almost $12,000 extra. Otherwise, you'll get the standard output Cummins rated at 370 horsepower and 850 pound-feet of torque, matched with the 6.8 RFE transmission and a max tow rating of 22,740 pounds. Interestingly, if you use the configurator on the Ram Trucks website, you'll find that you can actually get a Ram 3500 dually with the HO Cummins and Aisin transmission for only a few $1,000s more than a comparably equipped single rear-wheel Ram 3500 with the standard output Cummins and 6.8 RFE transmission. So if you want maximum capacity, just go straight for the 3500 dually with the HO Cummins and Aisin transmission, unless you have something against dualies. GM had been at the bottom of the food chain for years with its 6.6-liter Duramax and Allison transmission, but that changed a few months ago when it introduced its new heavy-duty trucks. Traditionally, manufacturers raised tow ratings by increasing horsepower and torque, but this time GM took a different path. The 6.6-liter Duramax is still rated at 445 horsepower and 910 pound-feet of torque, but everything else was upgraded. The Duramax is now backed by a new 10-speed Allison transmission, plus bigger axles, ring gears, and prop shafts to produce a max tow rating of 35,500 pounds with a gooseneck and 32,000 pounds with a fifth wheel hitch. Here's an interesting side note. The Allison transmission is actually built by GM, so it really should be called an Allison branded transmission. In fairness, GM worked closely with Allison to develop the new transmission, then got the company's blessing to use the Allison name. Not taking anything away from GM here, just keeping it real. One thing that we do appreciate is that GM didn't reserve a high rating for just a couple of its trucks. All GM dualies equipped with the Duramax and Allison can tow 30,000 pounds or more, whether you go for a Chevy or a GMC. It seemed like Ford was just waiting to see what GM would come up with before it dropped its own bomb, which it did late in September. But Ford has a few more caveats than other manufacturers. First, its max tow rating of 37,000 pounds is for an F450, which is a bigger truck than the F350 or the GM or Ram 3500 models. And we're pretty sure you don't want to drive a regular cab F450 unless you plan to haul heavy equipment around all day. The top rating for a Ford F350 is actually 35,700 pounds with a gooseneck hitch, and both the F350 and F450 are actually only rated to tow 32,500 pounds with an appropriately rated fifth wheel hitch. So when it comes to fifth wheels, Ford's top ratings are certainly impressive, but aren't necessarily best in class. Power and torque is a different story, however. The new 6.7-liter Power Stroke has been upgraded with a stronger block, cylinder heads, and connecting rods, along with a revised turbocharger and a 36,000 psi fuel system. The changes result in a chart-topping 475 horsepower and 1,050 pound-feet of torque, and you don't have to specify a high-output version to get it. It's matched with a new Ford-built 10-speed automatic transmission. Ford also leads the way in gasoline engine output with its new 7.3-liter V8. There's no replacement for displacement, and this new engine has features that old-school hot rodders will love, like a cast-iron block with cross-bolted 4-bolt mains and a forged steel crank. The engine is rated at 430 horsepower and 475 pound-feet of torque and can tow up to 19,600 pounds. The point we're trying to make is this: all of the current HD trucks have amazing power and capability, so choose the one you like best. The maximum published tow ratings really don't mean anything when it comes to towing a fifth wheel.